stage. Calm down.
This is the good stuff. We are here. It's already happening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back. Hello, Lauren. Hello to you at home. My name is Jay Ryan. You are watching the Cars and Comedy Show. We are in the late night Playset, and if you hear some chatter, it's because we've got great energy already. The place is full. We've got Lynn's already in the seat. Lindsey's on the stool. Nicole's with us tonight. We've got a producer up in Canada who's going to be here in a little bit. There he is. We've got you on Instagram someplace there. Yeah. Gosh, the main topic. Holy crap, the Crest. I almost don't want to talk about it, but I guess we have to. Angela's Crest Highway, we will be discussing that and its current state. We will be discussing what's happening with Breakfast Club in the meantime. We're also going to be talking, we can't talk about what Lynn's been doing on her travels because it's embargoed, of course, by a name we all know, but there's plenty to talk about. So, and Lindsey's here too, so maybe Lindsey will jump in as well. Here, look, everybody's here. Everybody's here. Bring it all the way around. Woo! Oh, and then, gosh, I always forget.
Ladies' night here on the Playset.
Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. Hello there, Mike in Canada. How are you, sir?
Greetings, sir. I'm here for an hour, and I'm excited about it.
Great. That's about all anybody will be able to take it as, I think. Anyway, we'll kick it off. Sorry for the spit. We had to do it for the bubbles. Lindsey's never been here. She had to see some bubbles. That's right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Good evening to you at home, anyway. What's happening now? Oh, there we go.
It's very foamy. Okay, we're set.
The bubble machine could use a bath. I'll give you that. But whatever. They asked for more bubbles the other day. It was on the air. I didn't have time to go wash the machine, so I just added more fluid. Sorry, it's so foamy. Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday, March 16th, 2023. Nicole is already laughing. She's back with us, which is also a good thing. You weren't here on Tuesday. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Nicole. Is this thing on?
Yeah.
Do you love it when people do that? Is this thing on? My production guys, when I'm recording and I have the little lav mic here, they love it when I go bam, 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 bam. My editor loves it.
Do they love it especially because it's they've got
Yeah.
earphones?
Yeah,
on?
they've got cans on, and they're like, horrible human being. Why would you do that?
If there's another story just like that, tell it now while I set up our
There's
3 shots.
so many stories like that, you guys. No. Shooting is a really interesting thing if you've never made a car video before. Like, I love the people that I really like are the people that are like, she sucks at her job. And then all I want to say to them is, how about you get in a car, spend like an hour in it, and then talk about it while you're driving, like maybe even at speed, like quick, you're trying to do maneuvers and stuff, and then talk intelligently into a GoPro while you're trying to also like think, oh, is my hair okay? Like, do I have lipstick on my teeth? Maybe there's some spinach from lunch because no one's looking. And then you have to do it in these like soundbite nuggets, so you're not like, so that my editor can like make it snappy.
Just cut it all together.
Just try it. Dare ya? Just kidding. It's fun. I love my job.
You do love your job. Welcome back.
Best job I've ever had. Thank you.
Let's talk about your job.
This is
I mean, or whatever.
Yeah.
When you're here, you're in control.
No, that's not true. I'm only when I'm behind that desk. No, I'm still working at Kelley Blue Book. The end of this month is going to be 5 years there for me.
No.
Which is huge.
That is.
It's so amazing. I never in a million years, when I first got the job, I was like, I'm going to do this for a year at the most. And I just fell in love with it. You all know I'm a writer. I'm not really a on-camera personality, and
which doesn't make sense because you are an on-camera
kind of,
personality.
if you were inside my being, like you would know. It definitely.
Just ignore this woman.
But like if you were like,
pay no attention to what she says.
If you had the neuroses that I do about myself, and like it's really an uncomfortable state of being is to be on camera.
Right, we all have it.
Right.
And we just see you from the outside. You look gorgeous.
So it's a fake it. It's a really kind of a fake it situation. But I've learned so much, and it's so cool to have always have something that you're kind of learning or like stretching yourself as a person. I'm convinced that it keeps you young and on your toes. So yeah, it's been almost 5 years, and I continue to say this, literally the best job I've ever had.
I think you're onto something too, though, isn't it? They're literally like if you learn something new every day, theoretically, the brain paths, the neural stuff stays alive.
Always.
Yeah. So you really are. Good.
Yeah.
How old are you now? 100 and because you look 28.
Billions of years.
I just had
a birthday.
Congratulations.
I'm actually okay with saying that I'm 53.
What? You don't look.
I'm 53 years old. I just turned 53.
You're not supposed to add years.
I don't care. I feel
If
like
that's
we
actually-
shouldn't be afraid of how old we are.
Yeah,
I
that's-
embrace that.
That should be a celebration
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, it feels good. I tell you, if I had the opportunity to go back to being 25 or 28, I would not take it.
Nope.
Not in a
about-
million years.
Nope.
What if you
neither.
knew everything you
No
know
way.
now?
Yeah, that's interesting.
No. It's
No,
a
I didn't-
Different kind of pressure that you
Yeah.
don't have to look at when you're older.
Yeah, I didn't know myself back then.
Yeah.
And I probably didn't like myself because I didn't know myself.
God,
and now I
that resonates.
do. Man, cuz you figure out like what's important to you, and you figure out who's important to you and where you want to spend your time, and that is a very satisfying feeling.
Yeah, working towards more of yourself.
Yeah.
It's fulfilling.
Yeah. And then you have more to share with other people because you're like, okay, well, here are the good things that I am. Here are the not so great things that I am, because everyone has those.
Yeah.
But you understand that they're kind of like they're yin and yang, right? It's like one side of the coin is like, oh, maybe that's a little rough, but the other side of the coin, that same coin, makes you something really wonderful and terrific that you're proud of. I would challenge, and I would actually challenge every single person here, and maybe we can do this. Like
Should I put the
no,
scoreboard up?
No,
We've got a challenge,
that
folks.
by the end of the show, that you're able to say, like, what's one thing that you really like about yourself?
Oh my God, I love you.
But
And
how
I'm making
hard?
a joke over this.
But how
Jeez.
hard that is for us to do, right? Because all we see is the crapola stuff that we are. You don't think about, you know what? I'm generous, or I'm funny, or I'm kind, or I like whatever it is. Like we don't think about those things.
I just went there today. Like everything that we see in anyone else is in us somewhere. So
Yes.
good, bad, or ugly, it's all there. And
Yeah.
we put up barriers to look at it when we make judgments. It's like there's no need.
Yeah. I agree.
We put up most of our barriers in life, I
We
think.
do. It's defense.
I do, yeah.
I don't want people to, it's vulnerability. I don't want people to see that,
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But even like self-sabotage type of stuff. Like,
Oh.
when you're just, it's inherent
Real
in
good at that.
Oh, you too?
Yeah.
Should I put the scoreboard up?
No, because no one wants to think about those things. At some point, you just got to be like, all right, well.
But sometimes you wake up with that guy in your head,
Yeah.
and then you got to get it out somehow.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
You just put one foot in front of the other. You know, I have the things that I like to do. Like I get up in the morning, I make my bed first thing because I like to feel some accomplishment, something that I've done, and that's a one thing. And you just listen. You know the days where you're like, oh man, like today was one of those. Like I feel like nothing really went right. I had one of those days at this last event that I was on. It was a really tricky schedule. It was
The secret
really
event.
It wasn't a secret event. I just can't tell you how the cars drive, but I was at a
Currently secret.
BMW event. We were driving the XM, which is their new plug-in hybrid M car, and then doing the new M2 as well.
I see just the information on
Just
what
the
you feel
driving
is
impressions.
But you can say that it
I
was
can
for
talk
BMW
about
and then
what
it
it
was
was,
this model.
yeah, because everyone's seen those
I was
cars.
misinformed.
But embargoes don't lift until a little bit later on in the week. So, but it was one of those days where there was a lot of driving. It was one of those BMW programs where they're like, we're going to make you drive 7 hours. And you're like, all right. And on one level, you're like, yes, this is fantastic because it's the M, right?
We're going to let you drive.
They're performance cars. Like you want to drive these things. But when you're shooting video and you've got 2 cars now. So I had one car in the morning and then I had the other car in the afternoon. That meant
doubling your workload.
And then I have a drive partner with me who's not helping me with the video part of it. And so I have to then split that first part of my drive time with the drive partner. And then I have to, like I was talking to you earlier, get on a camera and say something like, I know what I'm talking about. That's sort of intelligent. So it was so that was 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. And I'm not kidding. Every single thing that could have gone wrong with all of my camera equipment did. You know, when you're messing with the GoPro and it's like, would you like to reformat your card? Press format or press no thanks. Terrify me. Well, I accidentally overshot the no thanks terrify me button and I hit format. And I was just like, it starts going like this and you're just like, stop. And you can almost hear the footage go. And you're just like, oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh.
This story right here is why you are great in more than just print. That thing, genius.
You're just like, okay, my editor really hates me now. But it was just one of those days where it was like, okay, so that happened.
Pick yourself up. Yep.
Can't do anything about the bye. That's gone.
Yeah.
And you literally just have to say, okay, this is what it is. I am doing every single thing that I can, and it's just not going my way. And
I still want to shoot myself in the brain when that happens.
yeah.
The earlier days of this thing, when you forget the audio, something goes over, and then you've
Yeah.
had somebody you've been trying to get here, and then all of a sudden at the end, no show, no record of any of it.
Yeah. But you know what? This is the beautiful part about being my age, getting into your 50s, because who cares? I can't do anything about it.
No.
Who cares? And it's not that I don't care. I care deeply about my job, and I want to do a good job when I'm there. And I take it very, very personally. And then I'm reading the comments on YouTube, which is exceedingly painful, but they make me do that as part of my job. And so I do.
Oh no, because you need feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another story I can
From
that
the
I can
pajama
share.
people.
Uh-huh.
From Bernadette's blog.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, it's great. But
We didn't know lot that. Oh
my
that's
gosh,
crazy.
it's so.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, but
no.
it's that if that's where the world's come, I hate,
tried
I hate the
avoiding it
metric
for
world.
I tried avoiding it for 4 years until my boss was like, "I really think we need a moderator, and I think you'd be the perfect person for this."
No,
and I'm like,
you're-
"Have you met me? Like, have you met me? No, I would not be the
But maybe
person."
they're right, because maybe your honesty is, that you can shut it down.
But here's the thing: I've learned a lot. It's given me a little bit of a thicker skin, which I definitely needed because I'm a very sensitive person. But their opinion is just their opinion. And I'm not going to make everybody happy, right? I can't, not everyone's going to love all of the stuff that you do. But when you are, what I've learned, and I was so proud of myself 2 days ago when I did the BMW stuff, was I got back to the hotel and I was just downloading what footage I did still have. And I was like, well, I didn't cry. I didn't lose my, can I say shit?
Yeah.
I didn't lose my shit. I was just like, okay. And I guarantee you a couple years ago, I would have been like, oh, like freaking out.
I'm still there, and I do still lose my shit. And I'm like, even though I know there's nothing we can do about it, I still go, boop, boop.
Because you're going to have another opportunity to do it again and to try and get it right.
You're saying that you have that awareness now, and that's how you stay calm.
Yeah. And
I mean, I know that's true too.
I know,
but
that's
darn
like,
it.
but that's in that moment. That means that you literally have to like leave your own body and like look outside at your body and go, just chill. It's okay. You're gonna have there's another opportunity to succeed.
This is great advice, but I need you in my head like a lot more than just
but
1
sweetie,
hour.
but here's the thing: you already have that skill. You are in your own head. You are the best person for that, and it's possible. We just have to remember to do it. To be in that moment when we're all emotion and like, oh my god, however it is that we're reacting, it's just like literally taking a sec. Maybe it's a breath. Maybe it's a close your eyes. Maybe it's a whoever it is that you pray to or not, and just be like, all right, and then you're just. It's like a little reset moment, and it's practice. I'm telling you, it's practice.
Do you know what the added frustration generally is for me? Is that we call them the disaster shows in the
Okay.
TV business.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
disaster
yeah.
shows, theater disaster shows.
Yeah.
It always seems to be when you have done the most due diligence.
Yes.
When you are the
Yes.
most prepared. When you have done everything to make sure that nothing else goes wrong. The universe is like, bink,
Nope.
bink.
Right? That's the test. That's the test. Really? Did you really do everything?
Oh,
Did you really prepare? Because you may have prepared here, but have you prepared here?
By the way, every time I get there, when
Yeah.
the murky waters come, that's where I am.
Yeah.
But in the moment, getting
No,
from to,
in the weeds is rough. And it's so easy to say, right? It's like, oh, you should do this, and you just do that. It's so easy. No, it's not. It
Life
sucks.
by Lyn.
It sucks. Trust me, Lyn's
You would be a good moderator, though. This kind of proves it.
Lyn's learned all these lessons in real time, people.
Lyn's
And
life
she's still-
lessons. Is anyone else?
I feel like
fucking
I've
trademarking?
got a TED Talk in me somewhere. But we all have these opportunities. We all have these moments. We're given them. My mom gave me this awesome little. It's just like this little quote from someone. I don't even know who it was, and it basically says that the way that this sort of philosopher or writer separates the world is not between like the people who are like good and like the good people and the bad people or whatever, but it's the sort of the people who make mistakes and keep making the mistakes, and then the people who make mistakes and then they learn from their
from them.
mistakes. And I was like, oh, that's good information.
Because we all make mistakes,
Yeah.
right?
And we're never like nobody is never going to do that. This honestly is one of the things that is like one of the hardest things for me to see now, in the way like I feel like our world is kind of getting into this space where it's like it's not okay to fail.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's not okay to make a mistake.
Or
You can't and no one wants to apologize for anything, and you
Yeah,
can't
that's
just say,
weird.
you know what, I'm sorry, I screwed that up, because everyone is just instantly defensive, and I'm like, whoa, it's cool. Like I expect everybody to screw up. I wish we could get back to that place where it was okay to be not perfect.
since we've turned this into the View today, right?
It's just a therapy. It's just like therapy session. I love it.
We've got Mike up in Canada moderating, but this is clearly the View. And I mean that with producer Kate over there, and then you got Lindsay. So I'm going to show my bare belly for a second here and say that I don't know. Does anyone here have Apple TV? Does everyone here have Apple TV?
Yes.
There is a little. It's a cartoon. It's like a half-hour cartoon movie short film called, and it's based on a book. And some static in Canada. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. You know the story.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips of it, and it just rips your guts out.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Then I need to watch the whole thing.
You nailed it. I watched it alone to see if I wanted to see if like it would be. I tend to preview things to see if they're worthy of her.
I think that's appropriate.
Her time is very valuable.
Yeah.
I sobbed through the entire thing because I related to it so stinking much.
Yeah.
I mean, uncontrollably sobbed. I kept it on instead of pausing it, but I freaking like the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And then I watched it with her, and the moment I put it on, it started happening again before even the moments because I knew
like
they
a
were coming.
reflex. You're
Yes,
like,
I
whoa.
almost sat kind of behind her a little bit so she wouldn't see as much. And I know you did, but it's crazy because she wasn't remotely as affected by this thing.
Really?
I mean, she just sat there and kind of watched it, and at the end, you're like, well, okay, what's next?
That was nice.
I could hear you.
I was like sniffling.
I knew I was so close that I didn't want to make noise.
All right, that's really
was so
funny.
good.
That is really funny.
Anyway,
Totally covered it.
It's all right.
it's
You got
basically
a little.
the whole thing. I recommend this to anyone because it's really it's almost like a 30-minute building blocks to how you should live your life and just how you need
How to
it's
be a
like
good person, yeah.
your lesson your one was in there a second ago and like 5 other foundational infrastructure type things.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it to anybody. It's 30 minutes. You will not.
And didn't it just win the Academy Award?
I hope so. It's really good. By the way,
I don't know.
it's executive produced by Johnny Ive from Apple. Remember, he used to be at Apple, the design chief of Apple.
Okay. I don't
Sexy
know
guy
him.
used to shave his head. All the girls used to like Johnny Ive. I thought you might know him. Anyway,
been busy.
and Woody Harrelson. You know him too, right? He shaves his head
I know
also.
that guy.
There's a theme there. Didn't intend that. Anyway, really, really good. Highly
Okay.
recommend. But my point is, sob my damn guts out, and then I felt better after the, you know, whatever the purge.
Well, sometimes I think when we connect with the truth, like when you hear that, like you hear those, because I've just literally seen one little almost.
The connection there is all about compassion, and you were
Right.
saying it's sort of.
And I think the line that I heard, it's the mole asking the little boy, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And his answer is kind. And when we connect, I think when we connect with little just bits of truth, which they're all over the place, and when we hear them, we have that. Our soul kind of has that like rush of, that's my sister-in-law. No, it's my sister-in-law. I'm so sorry. We have that kind of rush
she could pick a moment.
rush of connection or of recognition of like, oh yeah, that means something to me. That's deep. That resonates. And if we're too busy, if we're too like crazed with what we're doing in the world, sometimes we miss those things.
This comes back to how the whole thing started, which the world is going too damn fast and trying to do many things.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers had it right.
Oh, Mr. Rogers.
He was so wise.
What a good dude.
Ladies, what do we think of Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers. Okay, I have one other little anecdote about Mr. Rogers.
Please.
And this is like, to me, this is, again, everything that's wrong with things like, especially with politics. There is a great video on YouTube right now that when Mr. Rogers is testifying in front of the committee
do I still have it in
to
here?
get funding for public television, especially for his show. And you can see that the senator or the
All right, Rogers.
congressman who he's there to sort of to give his it's not testimony, but it's like his statement to, you can just see that he's like, I'm opposed to this. I think this is hogwash or hoo-ha or whatever it is that he calls it. He's like, this is meaningless. This is not worthy of our funding. And you could tell that he had this like wall up. And Mr. Rogers started talking, and he explained himself, and he explained why he thought it was important and what his program does for children and how it benefits children. You could literally see the man on the other side of the dais. You could see him melt.
Soften, yeah.
And it was beautiful because he literally, he used his words and he used his brain and his intellect to explain. But the other guy, he was actually open to hearing what it was that Mr. Rogers had to say. And by the end of it, he said, you know what? We're going to get you your funding.
It was
That-
a great moment.
Because I guess
doesn't
you
happen
just got the
anymore.
$20 million.
That doesn't happen
Yeah.
anymore. We don't listen to each other anymore.
I was because he was willing to change.
He was
Yeah.
willing to change. He heard what he had to say, and he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that actually does sound like a good idea."
I was looking for that clip because we've played it on this show so many times. I thought it would still be in here.
Yeah.
It melts me as well.
It's a beautiful moment.
It's incredibly inspiring to me, though. Watching him melt is great, but watching Fred go from the guy who was about to testify
Yeah.
to a guy who clearly is literally just being channeled by God or
Yeah.
whatever you believe, and
Yeah.
he was just speaking his emotions to connect with that senator alone.
Yes.
Really crazy, awesome moment of like broadcasting. He wasn't even on the air, but,
Yeah.
but he was just connecting.
Yeah. But that's the thing. When we're open to hearing the truth, to hearing that bit of whatever, oh, okay. Yeah, it seems pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Let's do that.
I'm going to bring in our producer, Mike, just for a second there,
Easier
just
said
because
than
he's... oh, gosh, I didn't mean
No,
to
I
step
just
on
said
you.
easier said than done. Go ahead.
Well, he hosts a mental wellness podcast for men, a men's mental health
Yeah.
wellness podcast. Did I say all that right? Take it away, Mike.
Well, yeah, with HeCast, we've shot 100 and some odd episodes, and we've had all sorts of folks from life coaches and counselors and all sorts of people, and then men with a story who've learned something. And the two topics that come up more than anything are awareness and vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being aware of these things. And I love that video that Lyn just mentioned. I love watching that. The discourse where we actually do have our ears open and we can become aware of something. And I think it was Fred's vulnerability. Like, you're right, Jay. It totally was. He was channeling from the universe, whatever you want to call it. There's no question. But it was his vulnerability. It was him literally putting his vulnerability out there for everyone to see. And that vulnerability was met with an awareness that just was shared between the two. And it was a beautiful moment. I love those moments when humans can do that. And I think that's, our leaders certainly need it, but it needs to come from all of us as a populace. That's how we need to treat each other. Kindness,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. Lyn, I just absolutely love where you're coming from this episode. It's just warming my heart.
Well, thank you so much. I honestly, I really do appreciate that kind of a show, because I feel like it's okay to talk about our flaws. Like, and to be like, well, yeah, I'm not perfect.
Because nobody fucking
No
is
one's perfect.
There's always someone to relate to everything.
Yeah.
And somebody's
So
better at you. That's something. And whatever you're the best at, there's another guy that's better.
Of course. That's when I think, too, when you start comparing yourself to other people, like, whoa, how dangerous that gets.
But that's where we live currently when you mentioned the
Yes.
success and the drive, because everything in this world seems to be a metric now.
Yeah.
Everything's a box to check.
Yeah.
Wow, do creatives not live in that lifestyle?
That's not the definition of success that I have. I mean, I know that everyone is different, but the second I started to kind of realize, like, well, what motivates me? I'm not really that motivated by money. I'm motivated by, like, am I doing something that feels good, like that feels like I'm being of service to someone else, And I write about cars and I review cars, but to me, my outlet is not just necessarily like, let's drive fast cars and look really super cool. I help people with a really expensive and very confusing decision, especially now when we're moving into this like brand new technology that a lot of people frankly don't know anything about. I love that I get to do that every day. That makes me feel good. And I love it when people come up to me and they're like, dude, I watched your video about this Sentra and I loved it and I bought it and I'm so happy. Oh, awesome.
That must be pretty
It's
fulfilling as
really
well.
satisfying. And I worked, I mean, listen, you were PR, you know, I worked in advertising for a long time. That didn't feel very good.
No.
Buy what you don't need. Ah! This
Here's a
feels good.
flashy version of what?
Yeah, this feels a little better. So, yeah. And hopefully people are entertained at the same time. Maybe, maybe not. I'm goofy. So let's try. We try.
I think if you've been there 5 years, they're entertained.
They're entertained. Are
They're
you not
liking something.
entertained?
Right.
They're liking
Yes.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
I
I'm
can't believe
grateful.
it's been 5 years because I do remember you saying that like this is like 3 years ago or
Right?
whatever. It was before COVID, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean like,
maybe I'll see how it goes.
I mean you never know what the future will bring.
They're gonna
It's
have
like
to
it locked
drag
us down, and then you
No.
got deep dive into your job.
They are going to have to drag me out feet first.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I love it.
Do you like to travel? Like before this job, did you like to travel? And
Loved traveling, but really hard to find someone to travel with, and so I never did. Occasionally I would go on stuff. Like I remember when I was 29, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to wait until I'm married or till I have a man. I'm going to go travel by myself. And I did. And this was before the internet. So I got like Foder's, like West Indies or whatever it was, the book. And
Oh,
you're like,
Foder's got the
the
travel
guides,
guide.
the travel
yeah.
guides, and I'm reading, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go to the West Indies. Why not? That sounds fucking exotic and shit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what 30-year-olds do on cool TV shows.
Like a dart, throw it at the globe.
Seriously, but there was no internet. It was all just like fax us your itinerary, and then you're like, well, okay, like
So sketchy.
hopefully this works. Fax me your credit card.
Oh
Yay!
no.
But I did. I went all by myself. I took 2 weeks, and I had this whole. I was like, well, I can't